John Kane from Let's Talk Native here. All right, guys, I already talked to the governor. Now it's your turn. Paul Dyster, Byron Brown, and Mike Smitty Smith. It's kind of hard to talk to you all together like this because you and your situations are all so different. But you are all packed in so uncomfortably tight with Mr. Cuomo, so I guess I can start there. What the hell are you guys thinking? Don't you know this guy is playing you like the pitiful store clerk at your local convenience store, issuing crack draw and scratch-offs fast enough to make your fingers bleed? The only thing you have in common with the prince from Queens is the big D stuck between your name and your title. You don't even have the Italian family thing holding you together. He is New York City, and you guys are, well, that other part of the state that isn't New York City. He probably doesn't even know whether to call you upstate, Southern Tier, Western New York, or the Niagara Frontier. Look, guys, he is the governor. He isn't your boss, and he sure isn't your friend. He doesn't get you elected or even care if you get elected. You know who does put you in office? The people in your cities. You know who does care? The people of Western New York. Employment, education, hospitals, road maintenance, travel, and economic development all count on you, not Albany, you. The saying that all politics is local seems not to be registering with you guys. Look, I get it. More money trickles in from Albany than goes out. But that wasn't always the case. And it's the money and power out of New York City that has made it that way. Sure, income and sales tax is down in the area. And all the economic recovery your party brags about seems to be all concentrated downstate, you know, that area that isn't Western New York. But the one bright spot that you have had since the crash of 2008 has been the steady employment with above average wages and salaries and no job loss from the enterprises of the Seneca Nation. Of course, the other obvious bonus has been the revenue sharing provision of the Seneca State Gaming Compact. Almost $400 million of free money has come your way over the last 14 years. Almost $50 million to Buffalo, $100 million to Salamanca, and $250 million to Niagara Falls. And while some of this may have covered some expenses, most of it, like I said, has been free money. You provided nothing for this revenue sharing. But this isn't the big picture on revenue sharing. That guy in Albany you seem so loyal to has seen far more money sucked out of this region, and he too has actually provided nothing in return. $1.5 billion has been sent to the state, with over $1.1 billion staying in Albany. And yes, you heard me, for nothing. Let me explain. This myth of exclusivity sounded good on paper, but it failed to recognize that while the state made certain promises to provide an area of non-competition, they did indeed compete for gaming market share with the Senecas. The only gaming they didn't do in the exclusivity zone was what they were already prohibited from doing by their own law. So what did they give up for $1.5 billion? My message to the three of you is that refusing to engage the Senecas on any kind of cooperative agreement, whether they are service agreements or projects of mutual benefit, is a mistake that will cost you and your communities both politically and financially. If Mr. Cuomo has given you an ultimatum of some kind, suggesting meetings with the Senecas will cost you his support, you need to think about that and question the ethics of such a demand. On the flip side, you also need to realize that the offer made by the Senecas to you is neither an entitlement nor without an expiration date. So now let's break it down a little. Paul Dyster, you are far and away the most vulnerable here, both because of your financial predicament and your caustic relationship with the Senecas. The threats you have made to the operations of the Seneca Niagara Casino make it very difficult for the Senecas to feel very good about offering much to help you in your capacity as the mayor of Niagara Falls. The fact that 15% of your operating budget depends on gaming revenue is just bad management on your part. You have played a big role in squandering the $340 million your city has received from Seneca Gaming. And any help the state has provided to the Falls pales by comparison to what they have kept of the $1 billion the Seneca Nation has sent to the state from the Niagara Falls facility. The choices you make now will determine your career in politics, so choose wisely. Byron Brown, you certainly appear to be secure politically, at least where you are, but the hoops Mr. Cuomo has made you jump through have not been flattering to you. Passing you by for a lieutenant governor and now making you more of a Democratic Party man seems to be more of a restriction than an opportunity for you to serve your community. It hasn't gone unnoticed by the Senecas or anyone else, your lack of acknowledgement given to the Senecas for being the first to begin the downtown Inner Harbor redevelopment. We have to assume the oversight is politically motivated. Beyond the almost $50 million your city has received from Seneca gaming revenue, the Senecas have pumped millions more in sponsorship for events and attractions and city projects, yet rarely get a mention from you as you boast of the city's successes. Buffalo represents the greatest opportunity for the Seneca Nation to impact the region, but huddling up close behind the governor as he plays politics with the Senecas diminish those chances. You need to show some real leadership and courage and not be bullied by a governor whose popularity in the region is fragile at best. He seems to think that making frequent stops in the region will win favor for him, but with every trip, another round of racist comments, false accusations, and threats show all of us just what this guy is made of. And your silence makes you complicit. Smitty, you clearly have to be the most conflicted of this bunch. A political novice torn between your Seneca identity and your strong relationship with the non-native community, your tenure in politics is very tentative. Salamanca is simply unsustainable as a municipality. Nothing you can do will change that. The best chance for your city is for the Seneca Nation to take it over. It owns 95% of the land anyway, and they certainly will not let it go into state receivership. I don't know where that would leave you, but as a Seneca, you should be more concerned about the land and the region than your title. For you of all people to pack in with the governor is the saddest part of these stories. You, more than the others, should have been taking the Senecas up on their offer to meet. You're a Seneca, for crying out loud, but every newspaper article with statements from you expressing your hope in the governor is a slap in the face to the people of the Seneca Nation. Anyone calling for the governor to fix this is really saying one thing: squeeze the money out of the Senecas. And you all ignore the fact that the state has been screwing the Senecas and the region for decades. It should not take a genius to recognize who is more committed to the region. The Senecas are here to stay. No election, economic drought, or environmental shift, or anything else will push the Senecas out of their homelands. Almost every dollar from Senecas is spent in the area and supports the local economy. Senecas and Seneca employees fill the stands at concerts and sporting events. They shop in the region's malls, grocery stores, and auto dealers. The Senecas paid 14 years for a state concession that was no concession at all. No one can say just what the state was prohibited from doing specifically by the revenue sharing provision. The only gaming the state did not do in the area was what their own laws prohibited them from doing. The Senecas will no longer pay the state for nothing. The Senecas will no longer be party to the state sucking much needed resources out of the area. Unlike the state's omnipresent lotteries, the racetracks, racinos, and casinos, the revenue from Seneca gaming will now stay in Western New York, all of it. Your failure to engage the largest employer in the region, who neither asks you for your tax dollars nor will ever leave the region, is disgraceful. You three mayors should be ashamed of yourselves for refusing to sit with the Senecas, for not being grateful, and for standing with Mr. Cuomo as he takes shots at your neighbors. The governor will not fix this. The free money has ended, but you have the opportunity to embrace what is being offered to you, even if it isn't what you have grown accustomed to. Don't blow it.